Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
Yeah, so that science piece to me, it's I find the science piece to know that it exists and it's on the rise to be very exciting. I don't understand it all, and I don't feel I'd much rather have somebody explain it to me than have.
I agree with that. Yeah,
just explain it to me. Explain, and that again is what she's able to do, like that, and the two of them together. I mean, it's just fabulous. Again, the Breakdown podcast. Tom told me I had podcast envy. I do. Better than penis envy, I guess. But but the thing that I want to do now, and I do a great job with synthesis outside of this podcast. When I use my mouth and I use my left brain, I lose the ability to synthesize. So I thought it might be nice, especially because I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this, that I synthesize the last several weeks about the most important things that have come out of it for me, and the fucking reason I'm doing this, to be able to talk about this stuff that it doesn't drive me batshit crazy, but I want to move psychology along, especially. So this episode is an effort to comment on conversations I've had on the podcast, conversations I've had in life, and just talk about things that you and I have covered a lot of these. So it's kind of like crossing T's and dotting I's, if you will.
Okay.
So I talk to somebody, I talk to a therapist every 2 weeks. At this point, I'm not doing traditional cognitive therapy. I had an incident that I referenced well over a year and a half ago that at some point I'll discuss. So once I worked through that, I found that I still didn't know enough. I hadn't opened enough. I hadn't viewed enough mirrors to be able to know what the fuck has happened to me, that I still didn't have as much. I didn't spend a ton of time in therapy, but I was asking my therapist yesterday why psychology still doesn't help more with fundamental things, whether it is the suggestion of how you're wounded, how you're attached. And the answer is the answer that I thought I was going to receive, that they don't like to place things in your mind that you can essentially do more harm than good to yourself, which I think is irony, because there are a number of us, I think myself and yourself included, that if you would just tell me what you think, then I can make a very good decision about it. Make sense?
I mean, it does to me.
Cool. So,
if I knew the thing, I would be able to know how to think about it. It's from my perspective, it's not like putting it in my mind, therefore I now believe it. It's putting it in my mind, so now I know that is a possibility, and I know how to think about it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not her, or that science's experience, that people are more likely to maybe not be able to discern. And maybe that's a key to neurodivergency, our ability to discern. Who knows?
I was just going to say that. Maybe that has more of a difference of how we think and process versus someone who's neurotypical.
Which is
where they might take it as a way of their own being more than
we would.
Like someone neurotypical might take if it's put in their mind through a session where where it's like placed on them like, well, this might be your attachment or whatever we're talking about. Like we said, it's for someone neurotypical, is it placing it in their mind, therefore they believe it? Someone neurodivergent might be like, oh, well, this is a different way of thinking of it. Let me explore this option of a possibility.
Strap-on moment. Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's evolution, and maybe that's what AI can offer, because I just, I hear very often from people, they don't like labels, and I'm like, why the fuck don't you like labels? It doesn't mean it's applicable. Adopt it, don't adopt it, and they take things very personally. I don't take this stuff very personally. I just want to know what the fuck happened, what I can do about it, and how I can save somebody else time, grief, and sadness. I mean, that's why I'm fucking doing this. So when she said this, she did say, and she said I could talk about her. She's you won't know who she is, but she said one of the things she doesn't agree with is that, and I'm trying to think how she put it. It doesn't really fucking matter, but she was saying how society underscores the antisocial component, psychopathy, sociopathy. And I said to her, this is the way I look at it. And I said this to you yesterday, I think. I said 15 to 20% of the person of humanity, and I'm speaking about America. I'm talking about my experiences, even smaller than America. This is an extreme speculation and generalization. It's just how I experience things so I can fucking make sense of the world. But 15 to 20% of people are experience some sort of antisocial disorder to no fault of their own, okay? That I'm not saying these people are bad, not redeemable. That's not what I mean. But that 15 to 20% is influencing the rest of us, whether it's government, institutions, corporations, families, whatever. And then about half of us that have more narcissistic tendencies than not really are looking at that 15 to 20% and are really influenced by it for a number of reasons that I don't necessarily want to get into now, but I could if a conversation was to go that way. And so that leaves the rest of us, about a third of us, that are really sinking into our consciousness, really seeking into awakening and wanting to revive humanity as a result of those other influences. And my therapist was like, she got that because she gets me. And I think you get that because you get me. Fair?
I think so.
But I only say that because and this is tied into, I need a tissue. This is tied into where this podcast has brought me in recent weeks to where I started in the beginning was wanting to develop a BQMQ, a benevolent quotient, malevolent quotient. You remember that? Did I ever bring that to you?
Vaguely, I remember us talking about, I don't think we talked in depth about the quotient, the benevolent quotient. I think we just talked about generally. So if you want to clarify that.
I think, and this is also how I would love to see embraced within AI, but side note, that we have EQ, emotional quotient, we have IQ, intelligent quotient. I think for people who struggle with themselves, I mean, the antisocial type, the type that wants to be less narcissistic, some has some self-awareness where they want to figure out why they operate the way they operate. I think that a BQ, MQ could be developed to help people do the work and seek their own redemption. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. I also think that, the childhood wound would be a part of that, determining what I think I said on the podcast recently, probably said to you privately, I thought my childhood main wound was abandonment. It was actually rejection. And then my attachment is more disorganized so I have an insecure attachment style as a result of my childhood and then my marital experience. No therapist ever told me that. I had to figure that out on my own, which is fine. But it's helped me immeasurably with my own desire to heal my brain, for lack of a better word. I don't look at it as mind. I look at it as brain. So within this quotient that I would like to see developed would challenge people to know that about themselves, should they want to, mind you. Nobody's going to be doing this who has no desire. But for somebody who wants to sort of move their healing along, I think these things are really, really important. Make sense?
They are really, really important.
Yeah.
Because it's at least the starting steps of healing and having a definition, a starting point. And where it's, if you know your attachment style, I mean, that's a big part of the battle.
Yeah. And I mean, it's all out there, but it's not put into simpler terms for the average person struggling. And we educate psychologists, but they can't, I don't want to say dumb it down, they can't water it down so that it's more palpable to help somebody heal. They tend to, therapy is just sort of, they meet you where you're at. Because they have to, because they don't want to incite anything that can perhaps make things worse for you, I guess.
Right.
So, okay, so there's that stuff. I think, and this I talked to you about, this is going to the next thing, is how important the manifestation of covert abuse is on the mind and the brain. And CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress injury. I am going to try to say injury more than disorder. I know I say CPTSD all the time because I've been saying it for 10 years, but I really mean CPTSD, injury. I have somebody coming in 2 weeks specifically to talk about the injury to the brain. Dr. Stein, in prior episodes, we inched toward it, but it's not his specialty, and I have somebody who's going to go there with me. So I feel like I owe an explanation to my listeners when I talk to somebody who has had extreme sexual or physical abuse. I've learned that there's no way I would want to have experienced those things. That's not my point. But my point is my goal is to try and see and learn from those folks where they are with the covert elements of their abuse. And I've tried to be gentle and gingerly and empathetic as best I can, but I'm here to help with the covert aspects should people want to talk and examine. So I'm learned from talking to people that it's still a very underestimated effect when other abuse is in the mix. And I know you can't speak to it, but I know you know what I mean when I say that. Yes?
Yes.
So I never, I had somebody recently think that I was, I can be very matter of fact. I know that. But I can also recognize the depths of what somebody's been through. Very, very, my empathy for it is vast. I'm just very often trying to peel an onion, and I'm not trying to compare abuse. I'm not trying to say something is worse than something else. I'm trying to say that the brain injuries as a result of these abuses, we're just still on the cusp of this stuff. So I just I don't set out to hurt people. That is not my goal. My goal is to glean as much as I can, to have opinions, so that the covert aspects, I don't want to say longer, but the aspects that the people want to face is more actionable. It makes me want to cry, so I got to be careful. I think that's all I'm going to say, because I feel like I'm digging a fucking hole. I understand that I can look self-righteous. I can look like the ultimate narcissist. I can look very, my intentions can be misconstrued. And I've just decided, fuck all that. I've got to continue to talk about this stuff. And when it resonates, just help as much as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it really depends on the receptiveness of the listener and where they're at the time of listening, for them to understand the severity of the covert abuse and how it really does affect the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there were many times in my life where I was in the throes of it, questioning my reality, and I had no idea. And even if I did the research and listened to experts on the subject, and some of it resonated, you still question your reality. It's when you're in the throes of it, it's you're still questioning it. There's still hope for some reason. There's still belief in that person. Like, well, it's like it's you don't want to trust yourself. Like, oh, okay, so all the things that I'm listening to or talking about, they all make sense. And yeah, that's like exactly what's happening. Is it? There were still times where I still questioned my reality, even knowing that what I was going through was covert abuse. I was always questioning myself first.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just like, once you get out of it and then you go back and think about it, it all makes sense, clear sense. Where it's now going forward, it's easier to spot. It's easier to protect yourself, and to understand what it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, being neurodivergent, I had it wasn't an option for me to not get to the bottom of it. And I'm happy to say I got to the bottom of it, but not before I had a excruciating experience that, but I manifested it. I asked for it. I asked for clarity. I asked for, I'm very careful about manifestation as a result of the experience I keep alluding to, but don't discuss. And I know that's unfair, but it's all of this is helping me gear up for it, because when I do disclose what I have to disclose, if you want to call it that, I have to be totally comfortable with anything anybody can say about it, and that is challenging because I've explained it before. It's one thing when a number of people have opinions about you, and it's another thing when your own voice can be used against you. And that's what's happening is like, woo, I'm going to say something in a certain way. And people are allowed to have an opinion about it. That is well beyond my control. But how do I want to say it that it gets to the people that need to hear it versus all the people that are going to choose to misconstrue it. And, that's what you helped me with most because you were there. And thank God. I mean, fucking thank God. So, my history with estrangement, side note, is I separated deliberately from my siblings as best I could, caring for my mother. In 2015, it was brought to me that I should. By 2017-18, I had separated as best I could in a boundaried way that was very flexible, too flexible, but flexible nonetheless. And then as my siblings trickled down to my nieces and nephews, so I chose estrangement from my siblings. My nieces and nephews then chose estrangement from me. I kind of was told that that was going to happen as a result of, you can imagine, and then by the siblings. And then, now with my kids, I want to be very clear. I don't consider us estranged, but I consider this time individuation time. I consider this low contact for reasons that have a lot to do with me standing up to my childhood and marital issues late. And I'm very opinionated on estrangement, not because I'm totally experiencing and know how to advise where our children are concerned, but I'm certainly very well-versed in family and the consequences of standing up. I hope, and I hate that word, I have faith that my experiences with estrangement will help with the multi-generational trauma. We don't really prevent it. We sort of put little cogs in the wheel to try and have it examined. I hope that I will encourage people to stand up against covert abuse and be ready for the consequences. But, the consequences are necessary to heal self. And this, do you want to comment, Shelley? This is the one that gets me, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't know what to comment because it's individually sensitive.
Yeah.
And
that's a good comment. Yeah, what it means.
I really just feel for everybody who, and you going through your your experience of abuse and those who are currently in the throes of it. I do feel for them because of my own experience, knowing how it feels and how alone one can feel and hopeless. Yeah, it's devastating. It's sometimes life ending, unfortunately, in many ways.
Yes. Whether it's suicide or whether it's permanent dissociation.
Yeah.
Which is an epidemic. Brian just held up a sign, meaning we're coming. What are you laughing at? I'm crying and he's laughing. Huh? Oh. There's many things that I didn't mention. I'm just going to do rapid fire. Other things that are important to me: dissociation and dementia, domestic Stockholm, the correlation between gaslighting and catfishing. I mean, gaslighting is just domestic fucking catfishing. Reactive abuse. When you react to a person with antisocial personality, people can do it for decades and they look like the abuser before they figure out their own behaviors and understand their part in the cycle of abuse. AI consciousness, I'm very excited about. Back to estrangement, I just think I have to find people who can have bigger conversations about it. And we have to be able to agree and disagree on that one, because I will always be pro-child. I can't be pro-parent. I'm not pro-child when it's, you know, I'm giving the child the benefit of the doubt that they have a reason to bring to their parents certain aspects of the parental behavior. I'm not talking about things that, you no longer pay my cell phone bill. That's not what I mean. And that's the reason I think it needs to be discussed more, because we have to learn to be able to talk to one another.
Yeah, and I just think that goes to a bigger level, being able to talk to one another, whether it's parent-child or it's just humans, it's just people in general. We have to learn to talk to each other and be compassionate with one another, and also recognize our own roles and not be hard up on defending our own egos in the situations.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I have done a good job of, I think I've said this before, I actually started apologizing before I was asked. And then when you get into a position where your children are looking for, adult children are looking for apologies for their experience, I think I've done a pretty decent job as that as well. But they can't, until there's just a number of things that they're not going to be able to absorb. They don't want to know why I did what I did. They want the focus to be on their experience with the worst side of me. That the best side of me doesn't fucking matter. And I think that's fair, but I also don't think we do a good enough job advising the parents that own their role with how to you know what I'm trying to say? Or am I Am I too out there? Shelley, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm just thinking. Sorry. I should have a thinking button that
No, no,
lights up
no.
for you.
I thought that's what you were doing, and I welcome it. But I just want to. This is new territory. This is trailblazing in a sense. Estrangement has been going on for decades, so I can't. The newer aspects of it are as it's affecting more mothers, and it's therapists. It's what's putting butts in the seats with therapy. So you've got the good and bad aspects of that, but I just think we've got to come up with solutions that protect. Go ahead.
What do you think is at the root of estrangement? Because there's a lot of things that one can choose to be estranged over. But what do you think is like the common root of actual estrangement? And I'm not talking about like severe overt abuse, because that's kind of obvious why you wouldn't want to be associated with that person. But for the epidemic of estrangement that we are facing, and it's growing, what do you think is really at the root of it? I don't know what it is. That's why I'm asking if you know, or is it multiple things?
It's multiple things. In my particular case, I think it's different than, like, I'm very clear on my opinion of my particular case. The larger picture is harder to discuss because I don't think we're so enmeshed in roles, women enabling, men, being patriarchy's involved. I don't mean that in a judgment way, but it's the power and the money and what kids are going to gravitate towards based on resources being resources. There's a lot going on. For me personally, I think it's that more kids are becoming more savvy about covert manifestation of mistreatment by parents. Parents, I feel, are waking up. I'm a woman, so I relate more to the women. Women are more waking up to what they tolerated. They want to have a voice and stand up for themselves, but it directly hurts their children because we're standing up against family, spouses. Historically, you're supposed to shut your mouth. Now we're saying, hey, we don't want to shut our mouths anymore. But we've already indoctrinated our kids into having relationships with our abusers. So what the fuck do you do? That's more my situation. But I can see how it plays out. You don't want your kids to hurt, but you just want to put this shit behind you and have more people aware so they don't have to struggle for as long as you and I did. Yes? No?
Yes. I think that is the ultimate goal, is to put this shit behind us so we can all move forward and not be stuck generation to generation, not pass this through to finally break out of whatever cycle we're in so our future generations can have a better start.
And I've said it before, my ex is not going to admit that all he would have to say is he was a shitty husband. But because he can't, and I don't need him to, let me be very clear, I have to say, wow, this is what I tolerated because we've allowed it. You know, if we don't stand up, it's just like Me Too against sexual and physical abuse. Well, those of us who have experienced Covert, which all of them did, have to say, hey, there's another angle to this, and it's very insidious, and this is how cycles break, really. And I don't mean break like in a continuum. I mean, they start as soon as they stop, too. It's not like that. It's not a literal cycle break. It's just for those who can face it and be cognizant and conscious about. Cycle breaking is another one of those terms that drives me mad because, I mean, look, it's starting all over again with being involved in wars. And I mean, this stuff is just 3D human experience. That's kind of what we're here to help resolve other souls with contemplation of this shit.
Right.
But I don't know. I hope, I have faith that talking about it will just give people an opportunity, connect, soothe, have, like, I can't imagine not having more with my sons, but at the same time, and this is but this is the thing. But I am, you know, when I think about the future, weddings, grandchildren, where is there a place that, you know, I don't care that they're in relationships with people who have mistreated me because I cultivated those relationships. So I have to say, ooh, oopsie, sorry I was dissociated from abuse for a number of years, but kind of figured it out now. But how can I effectively ask them to put me in the same place that those who mistreated me are? I mean, I'm the only one that can be in that environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can be in the room with those people, but they don't want to be in the room with me. And my kids don't want to be uncomfortable. So I'm essentially making the choice to do what I'm doing. And I've listened to people on the podcast talk about that they can, you know, they think it's okay to have feelings about those other people, and you think people can rise above it, but they can't, and in a certain they can't, and I don't know. How far over am I? So yeah, and I had other things on here, but estrangement's huge. I don't know as if I'm going to be the one. I think I'm going to piss people off when I talk about it. I piss people off anyway, so I may not be the person to.
Well, I don't think that should stop you from talking about estrangement. I mean, people taking offense to something usually, in my mind, means that it's hitting a chord that they're not willing to look at. I mean, I don't think that should stop you from your experience with estrangement to talk about it.
Yeah, maybe. I just, again, it goes back to using my own voice against me, which is just, you got to get over that. That's why I think that I feel like when I piss somebody off, I feel like I do feel that, but I still, I don't know, this stuff is so hard. And on that note, so we covered a bunch of the shit I hope that we've addressed in these podcasts. I don't feel like they will go, they will resonate with those they need to resonate with. And I hope that you continue to hang there with me until we get through. That's the only thing hanging over my head, is to fully discuss. I don't know if I can fully discuss the spiritual side of things versus the downside of my experiences in recent years. I hope, I keep saying fucking hope. I have faith that the good and the bad will help others understand that it's far from unique. All right, my dear. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to explore more of this BQ, MQ. I kind of really like that. So
I think it's
I'm
a
gonna
pretty
think
good
more on it.
idea. I think it's a
Yeah,
very,
I think it
it makes us, I mean, we put people in prison and that are antisocial and they get opportunities to redeem themselves, but we don't put the white collar psychopath. We don't give that person the opportunity to redeem themselves, or the typical sociopath, and we act like they're not really at play. Of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We wouldn't be where we're at.
Yeah.
And I just want to write a black comedy with my dark side. I exploit my dark side in a dark comedy. I don't want to exploit it in life. Much love, my dear. Brian's looking at me like I don't know. Poor Brian. All right. Adios.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.